Well, good morning, folks. Try to get out the door here. Take you down, show you the greenhouse, give you an update on our progress there. Man, oh man, what a beautiful day we've got today. I have to try to tear myself away from the computer, away from Facebook. You know, I posted an article on there stating that Daniel 7 is the only prophecy of the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with his angels for the opening of the book's judgment, and that Daniel 12 is the only prophecy of a resurrection of both the just and the unjust, and it's tied to the opening of the book's judgment. And it's Daniel posits that at the time of the Great Tribulation, time of the abomination of desolation, and that Jesus quotes both of those prophecies in the Olivet Discourse. Matthew 24 says that those will be fulfilled in his generation, the generation that would witness the abomination of desolation set up, those who would experience the Great Tribulation and see the demolition of the Jewish temple, and how that is the death of futurism. And people are going nuts. They're absolutely going nuts, going berserk. Just, Bobby Allison likes it when I say they're having a spasm. And they are. They're off on all kinds of diversionary fluff and insults. Not one soul, over 200 comments so far, not one soul has even touched the argument. So, I mean, insults are irrelevant, and it's a sign of desperation that people have no answer. They want to say something. They want to try to defend their tradition, their man-made doctrine. It's a Catholic doctrine, and I've proven that, and people just don't want to give it up. But anyway, they're just going nuts. But anyway, take you into the greenhouse here and show you what we've been doing. Try to get around the key cats down here. Try to get in here one-handed, hold my coffee. Alright. Alright, so back here, this was the row of buckets that you saw me last putting together in the last video. This is the east end, as you can see a sign coming through the end here, and this is where I want to put my peppers, down through here. And this is what I was doing. I was using this vinyl tubing and running a drip cord to each of the net pots. And I'll show you in a few minutes. I started over there on the other side, on the north side, with the beans, and that was an epic failure. It would not work. So what I'm having to switch back up and punt, so to speak, to do is I'm having to use this PVC pipe. It's the same pipe that I used down here to make the overflows. So that's what I'm having to use, and it's really simple. And it's what I should have done to begin with, and just lay it like right here and just drill a little hole. I'm drilling a 1/16 inch hole over each pot, and so far it's working fantastically. And so we'll come over here and so here, and this is on the west end where we come in the door, and we can see how this is working here. And I built the reservoir on this side, and I've got the pump in there, and I've got an air pump, I've got a 4-inch air stone in my reservoirs. And so anyway, the nutrient solution is pumped around this pipe, and it comes out little holes. You should be able to see it running right there. So I have beans all the way down this side, all the way down to the corner, which again back there, that's the north end I'm sorry, the east end where I want to put my peppers. And of course now you can see that I've established the center rows right here. This was my plan originally. This worked out beautifully. The only thing that I had to change was I was planning on putting tomatoes around through here, all the way down to the corner down there, and tomatoes in this row right here. And because my tomatoes are way behind and the cucumbers overtook them, I had to put all cucumbers in these two rows. And so I plan to have another single row of buckets down through here where all the clutter is. This is my only work area. But I want to put a row of tomatoes here and then another setup that we'll look at later on as we continue on. But anyway, that's what I'm trying to work on today, is doing this right here over there. And you can see I've got to start right here, and I'll go ahead and use the same hose that I started with, but it will come up to a fitting here like I've done right here, and I'll put a clamp on it. Okay, so we will continue on then as we assemble this. I was kind of stammering and stuttering around there because when I looked down I saw water dripping. You can see right here, and that's what I was kind of puzzled looking at that and trying to talk to. It's kind of hard to do with a one-track mind, but what I found was this overflow right here somehow got kicked out and was hanging out and running off, tracking back. So anyway, I took care of that. What I want to show you is a funny thing that happened over here on this side. You can see that I've got a coupling right there when I really didn't need one there. What happened was I laid that pipe out where in position and just made a little mark over the center of each net pot and drilled all the holes. But what I've done is I used the black lettering as my center line on the pipe. But notice this piece right here, and this is only 68 inches long, but if you look down, and I don't know, that may not show, maybe too bright for the camera, but you'll notice the printing is right top dead center right here. But if you go down here, it's kind of over to the side. You see that? It's not right up on top. And when I drilled all the holes in this 10-foot joint over here, put it together and turned it on, when I looked down to about right there, it was shooting out in the air and missing the net pots. So I kind of panicked there, and I got to looking, and I seen that the printing on the pipe was in a spiral. And never in my life have I ever seen that happen. I have always, in all the years that I have worked, we always used the printing on the pipe as the center line to line stuff up with. So that really surprised me. So I had to cut that piece right there and turn that section down and glue it back together. So I mean, even that one right there, you can see how it's spraying out. It should be shooting straight down or close to straight down, but it's not. But anyway, it's working, and I have to keep a watch on all of them, because like I came in this morning, you can see the water puddled up right there. It was splattering out off of one of those little clay pebbles. That's called hydroton, but it was splattering out. I had to punch a little hole, a little weep hole in the lid, let it run back down in the bucket. You can see one right there. So that's what I had to do. I've had to do several of them that way. But anyway, we're going to continue on here, putting this supply line together. And I like to take PVC cleaner, dabble it on the cloth, just give pipe a quick cleaning on the outside. That's just me. Oops, smack the camera. Alright. Like that, see? Again, that's just me. My OCD, I guess. What we want to do is to make sure that the holes are on the bottom. Now I just make a little reference mark on top so I know where it's at, because I'm going to do a fitting in here. Put this in here. Okay, and put Teflon tape on the threads, put this together, and glue this on the end. I always like to, when I'm ready to glue any PVC together, I always clean the material, and I use the same cleaner, the PVC in the yellow can, clear cleaner. I despise primer. I always use cleaner, but you use whatever you want to. But anyway, because this is such small material, and because the swab is way bigger than this, so instead of making a mess, I use this as a swab. Spin that around in there like that. And I'll do this again, just so I know it's good and clean. Turn the Q-tip around, use the other end for glue. And again, that's what I want to do. I want as little glue as possible to be exposed to the inside joint where the nutrient solution will be flowing through. I have to do this kind of quickly because it's such a small amount. Just barely have to moisten the inside of this so it'll slide together. Notice my reference mark on top, push it together and hold it for 5 seconds or so, and that's done. Again, my OCD, I wipe all the excess glue off. Try to keep things neat and clean. Alright, do the same thing on the other end there with the 90. Okay, so I've got that in there and it'll connect to the vinyl tubing I just showed you. Got a 90 on the other end. Of course, the only thing we haven't done is, because the 90 is going to be turned the corner right over that corner basket there, we don't have a hole in this. So we're just going to drill a hole right here, which will feed the corner nut slot. Like that. And that's that. So there you can see I put that together, put a little hose clamp on it. So that just sitting right there like that. And if I have to, I'll drill 2 little tiny holes and put a zip tie around that just to hold it in place. Now all that's left is gluing the cap on the end, which I've only got 2 of them laying around here somewhere. I went to Rural King to get some, and had to lay down on the floor and look under the bottom shelf. I found 4. I've used 2 of them, so there's 2 around here somewhere. See if I can find them. Well, I found the 2 caps that I had that I bought from Rural King after a lot of searching. They were laying over there in a Rural King bag. Who would have seen that coming? Okay, that's that. I wanted to show you my big funnel I made. I just used a shower drain and a little trick that I've used, use an old stocking as a filter to catch any debris. But I just set this over the hole of the reservoir, and it gives me a nice large target to dump water into so I don't spill and make a mess, which I'm really good at. And another thing, where I drill the holes in the supply lines and cut the holes in this, and anyway, you have little flecks of plastic, and the best you can do to sweep them up and wipe them off. There'll still be a few, and so I do the same thing right here. I use a stocking, and in theory it would catch all the little particles that would come through and keep them from being recirculated in the system. Now from over here I want to show you something. Show you how these beans are starting to vine, and I think I pointed out in earlier that I was having a little bit of problem with nutrient burn, so I've been trying to dilute my solution to take care of that. But anyway, you can see they're starting to vine, and I've got to get my trellis started, and I'm waiting on a tool to come in that crimps or swages the little attachments to make the cable loops, and I'll have a cable suspended overhead that these will hook on, and the string will just hang down like this, and the vines will climb the string, create the trellis. And so I need to get that done right away. That tool should be here in the next day or so, and it won't be a minute too soon. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. As I said earlier, my tomatoes are way behind all the other things, and I'll show you how they're doing. They're really coming slowly, real spindly, but they are growing, so that's a plus. And not every one of them came up, but there's a few that has 2 coming up, there and right here. And I don't know, I may just leave them in the same net pots when I transfer. We'll see how they do. And I had a few, there was a few of the beans that didn't come up, didn't germinate, and even I think a couple right here of cucumbers that didn't germinate. But anyway, that's what we're waiting on. This has taught me that I'm going to have to set my tomatoes out at the beginning of February to try to keep them in line growth-wise with the cucumbers and the beans. So as I said, this is a learning experience. You have a greenhorn in a greenhouse. But we hopefully things will work out. The Lord will bless, and we'll learn as we go along. And I appreciate you watching. Hope it's maybe just a little bit entertaining. But anyway, I think I'll go get some breakfast before I finish putting the supply line across the end. And there's one of my babies out there. She's waiting on me. Yep. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to show you, but you did see this, but I didn't point out what it was. I didn't build the reservoirs back here. I went to Lowe's and bought a 50-gallon tote, Craftsman tote. Actually, I bought 2 of them, and right there. But I decided these were quicker and less expensive than buying plywood nowadays, since lumber and products has gone absolutely through the roof. Fortunately, just about everything else in here I already had left over, materials and stuff, 2x4s and so forth, to make these benches and to make the benches over there. And it's just a simple 2x4 propped up. And as you can see here, I actually had a 2x6, had 2 of these. And these were left over from a Morgan Avenue project where I built a beam under the house. I had to jack the house up and replace the seal and the rim joist. That was left over from that project, and I screwed on. You can see right there, I ripped the 2x4 and screwed it on to make it a little bit, make a 2x8, in other words. And they're just propped up on blocks because there's really not much weight here. You have the bucket and you have about this much water in it, so there's very little weight. And by the way, you can see that it's pretty level. And the return pipe for all of these is not level. It does have some slope to it. As you can see, the T is buried right here, but as you go all the way down there, the pipe does have a little bit of slope. Then you have the 2-inch inside diameter also has a slope. But if the water was building up back here, it still is falling 2 inches plus the slope of the pipe. So it doesn't take much because it's very little trickling through at a time. So anyway, things are growing, looking real good so far. These cucumbers are looking excellent. And another experiment, if you will. Some of these net pots will only have 1 plant in them. This one has 2. This one has 3. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that works. And the same way with the beams, I go anywhere from 1 to 4 plants in the net pots. And it's, like I said, this is an experiment. We're learning to see how things work. And I've got another splatter out right here. You can see water pooling up right here. I need to punch a little hole in that. I need to rotate this just a little bit to where it's not splattering. But anyway, it'll be days like that, I guess. All right, thanks for watching. Okay, I just wanted to show you a little update here. The portion of the video that you watched up to this point, I made yesterday, April the 6th. Today is April the 7th. And I want you to take note of the growth of these bean vines over 1 day. I've been out here working, trying to get my trellis up. Run the cable. It goes from one end to the other. And I have those little skulls of tomato roller glass that will spool the string, and the string just hangs down, and the bean vines supposedly will just climb at the string. And so that's what we're doing. But I wanted to show you that, just how much those have grown just in a day's time. All right, thank you for watching.